Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Field Service Customer Success Solutions Showcase. Today we're going to premiere two brand new video case studies from customers from the US and from Europe. The case studies show the power of NetSuite and FieldAware together. We're also very lucky to have the people that implemented those solutions at the customer. And they'll be here to give a bit more of an overview and to answer questions. But first, the cautionary note, if you could read that. We're going to start out, excuse me, we're going to start out with FieldAware overview by our Alliance Director, Wade Hinkle, followed by premiere of the Generator Systems case study and an overview by Generator's CFO, Rob Sormak, and finally, the Intimus International case study. And we'll wrap up with a Q&A. Wade?
Thank you very much, Matt. Again, thank you to Rob Somrak and Erlen Gravelt for joining us here today. And want to give you a very brief introduction to FieldAware and what we do. It's a very simple value proposition. We take people's jobs that used to be done on clipboards and on paper and move them over to smartphones and tablets. We have iOS, Droid, and Surface versions for both phones and tablets. And people often ask us, what is the sweet spot? What types of industries best fit what we do? We are in more than 80 verticals worldwide, and we really fit best based on the workflow within each individual company. After we do a full discovery of our capability within a NetSuite environment, we can give you a good idea of whether or not we're going to be a fit for you. We don't really have a specific area where we specialize. Again, 80 different verticals across the world. Next slide, please, Matt. The top 5 features that we have encountered in our sales cycles with NetSuite. This relationship's now 2 years old, and we have run through more than 400 discovery and demonstration cycles with joint customers. And these topics are the ones that the NetSuite account executives and NetSuite partners tell us have the most resonance with their customers. Field visibility, the ability to see what your techs are doing out in the field in real time and see that information reflected both in NetSuite and reflected in our mobile clients and our web apps. Workflow flexibility. We have a custom item inside NetSuite called a field service order, an FSO. And you can start and populate data into an FSO and start a job out in the field from 16 different places inside NetSuite, which gives you a lot of flexibility when you're designing your other workflows as part of a new implementation. Real-time connectivity. Again, you are directly connected to the field live. There is no prem or colo or mixed topology here. This is direct iOS and Droid over the internet, over 4G. You have an intuitive interface that is easy to learn, easy to use. Our customers here today, Rob and Erlen, will talk about a little bit about what their own techs have experienced in learning our software. And again, because this is native software to iOS and Droid and Surface, it can be used offline, on a mountain, in a desert, and when you come back in range and sync up your work product, then moves back into NetSuite automatically. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rob Somrak, CFO for Generator Systems, who's joined us here from Akron, Ohio. We're going to first review his brand new case study video, world premiere of this work that was done for us by Solid Vapor. Very proud of both of these videos. So after we watch his case study, then Rob Somrak will stand up and talk a little bit about his experience with us. Next slide.
Generator Systems is a distributor of backup power generators. One of the things that we wanted to do at Generator Systems was create a business that had an integrated platform, whether that was a CRM tool or whether that was just inventory controls or our service, we wanted to make sure that everything was integrated to allow us to manage it better. NetSuite really provided a fully integrated system. It also provided us some opportunities with some third-party platforms like FieldAware that allow us to really get into managing different aspects of our business more efficiently and more effectively.
In the past, it took at least 30 minutes to process each transaction from the time the customer contacted us until we had contacted the technician and made sure that they were completely aware of what was needed. Today is probably 5 minutes or less, depending on the complexity of the order. But 5 minutes in comparison to 30 minutes, the gains in efficiency are amazing. FieldAware enabled us to take folks who were fully taxed prior to integrating it to folks who had half their day available as free time due to the improvements that were made with bringing on FieldAware.
Getting started on FieldAware was about the easiest I've ever had to deal with. Learning our original computer system just took a long time, and getting started on this, it was as easy as clicking through and finding finding what you needed to edit. At the end of the first day, I had found everything and was able to edit it as I needed to with absolutely no issues by day 2. We looked much more professional in the field, being able to have all of our data on hand, and when the customer's there, we're not searching for it. On an average work order, I'd have to say I'm going down in at least an 80% time saving over the course of the day.
We're approaching a new customers, we actually show them our technology, and we show them the ability that we have to track their generator, track their unit, show them the service records that we can provide, and it really provides a differentiation against some of our competitors because we are advanced in our technology and how we set up these systems and set up the service program for them.
The return on our investment with FieldAware far exceeded my expectations. Financial payback on this project happened in a matter of weeks. Productivity gains were practically immediate. Within a week of our FieldAware go live, we were able to schedule our technicians for more jobs per day. Right from the start, we saw an 80% reduction in the amount of time it took a technician to close a service order from the field. This increased the amount of schedulable jobs per day by 17%. We're doing more jobs per day with the same fixed cost. Big bottom line impact.
We're really excited about the NetSuite and FieldAware implementation and the success that we've had coming out of our go live date. We've seen drastic improvements across our entire business, and we feel that that will continue to be a really important part of our growth going forward.
I'm the CFO of Generator Systems in Ohio. When we first implemented NetSuite in 2013, our business selected a different piece of software to help us manage our field service operations. About a year and a half later, I knew it was time for a change, and we made that change. Generator Systems is a fairly diverse business, but I knew from day one that it was our service business and the growth and profitability that we could achieve there that was going to move my business forward and make it everything I needed it to be. I needed a solution that was easy enough for the techs to use, but comprehensive enough to give me the analytics I needed to run the business, and also comprehensive enough to give me the ability to manage assets in the software in a way my customers expected. So we really got efficiency gains starting immediately. Day 2, our techs saw an 80% reduction in the amount of time it took them to close a work order. We do 4 or 5 jobs a day. That's 2 hours per tech per day. Right there, we've have the ability to grow double digits without adding fixed costs to my business. We were gathering more data in less time, and my techs were happy. The techs used to dread closing work orders, and the technicians we had a couple that might close them by the end of the day. There'd be guys that would close their work orders over the weekend on overtime, and there'd be guys we'd have to bring into the office and schedule them off the road for a day doing the unproductive work of closing work orders. Today, all my technicians are closing their work orders on site, on their mobile device, while everything's still fresh in their mind. We used to have to dispatch folks back out to jobs because they couldn't read their handwriting, or they forgot to record an important piece of information, and that's not happening anymore. That's the field efficiency that we got, but I get almost maybe more excited about some of the back office efficiency that we got. The data that flows from FieldAware back into NetSuite is clean and accurate, and we're able to use NetSuite's automated workflows and batch invoicing to invoice the entire day's service work just in a matter of minutes. And you can contrast that with us manually having to invoice, review, and correct invoices before. And that's been a big time savings for us. So, as I looked at the business prior to FieldAware, I had a half hour at dispatch, I had half hour plus of closing work orders out in the field, and I had a half hour of invoicing each specific job. After FieldAware, that whole process takes something that approaches closer to 5 minutes. So effectively what that did for me is it changed the game, and it made my service business investable. And that's what we did. So we had the opportunity to grow by freeing up 2 hours a day of tech time. We decided to go ahead and add additional service salespeople in the field. And we found that having those service salespeople demo our technology and show how fast we could dispatch and how much information the techs had at their fingertips and the kind of service we could provide because of the technology we had really helped them close jobs, especially with larger, more sophisticated customers. Our customer retention rates went up pretty significantly as well. We had quicker, more accurate billings, which customers certainly appreciated that. The other piece of that was the way we handled our break-fix quotes. The technician can just change the status in FieldAware, which triggers the need for a quote in our parts department on the reminder screen. Our parts department can turn that around back out to the field and get that in the tech's hands before he leaves the job site in a lot of cases. That stops our customers from wanting a second quote and getting to know another one of our competitors. So all these things really translated for us into record growth and projections for continued success.
Next is the Intimus International case study. Intimus is located in Rotterdam. They sell and service information security management solutions, and we have Erlen Gravelt with us, who is supply chain manager. Here we go.
Intimus International wants to be the global leading supplier of security solutions on data management and cache management systems. We have 11,000 customers in the Benelux, and it is our mission to provide them with best-in-class service.
We had lots of business entities that were all running on different systems. We needed for all the business entities to run on one system. We realized that NetSuite could offer all of that, and it is now the platform that we run our business on. We knew from the start that we needed to extend NetSuite in order to see to our service needs. They have a strong partner program, and through that program we found FieldAware.
Before, we weren't able to answer as many phone calls as we can do now. So sometimes the customer had to wait a little bit longer because he had an engineer on the line. With the FieldAware now, we definitely get positive customer response. We get emails saying that they're really glad that we are able to help them as quick as possible. Now we're using FieldAware, I think the satisfactory rate of the customers has gone up.
With FieldAware, we're more efficient right now than we were in the past. An engineer has on his tablet a complete list of workflow he has to do for a particular time, so he can plan his own route without every time calling to the office. We're driving less miles because of that, so it saves us also money. Customers are happy with the shorter response time.
Using FieldAware as a service engineer let me appear much professional to the customer. Using FieldAware is not that difficult. I love it. I love working with FieldAware.
One of the biggest advantages of implementing NetSuite together with FieldAware was basically our ability to give the necessary feedback back to our customers, which is a very big advantage compared to the previous situation, but also as compared to what the competition can offer today.
FieldAware is a big cost saver. From the past we had to have multiple conversations to be able to service our customer. Now we only have one conversation, and that's actually the only conversation that matters to us, and that's the one with the customer. And no further conversation is needed. Everything is taken care of by FieldAware. It has saved us about 80 hours a week. In regards to our return on investment, we have already achieved some significant savings, and we are well on track to reach our original goals.
Having implemented NetSuite and FieldAware, we are now definitely on the path where we need to be in the future. We've already taken good decisions and good steps forward. We now need to take that further.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here today. My name is Emmy Gevel. I'm from the Netherlands, and I am here to share my journey, my story with you about how we started out with NetSuite and FieldAware. Our journey began, I should say, by the end of 2014, when Pitney Bowes decided to step back from part of the European market and decided to sell off 6 of its companies. We were immediately presented by a problem. We needed to find a new ERP system. The one conclusion that we had come to is that our previous ERP system was basically holding us hostage. We had to build our business around our ERP system instead of our ERP system allowing us to run our business as we wanted it to be as efficient as possible. We chose for NetSuite to bring all our entities into the same system and to cross boundaries so that we could all share the same information at any given time, anywhere. The advantage of that and choosing for FieldAware has given us now a return on investment in the first one in the shape of 80 hours a week that my people are saving on communication. They used to have to speak to our engineers to go out to the field and record all the data that the engineers, what they did there. And now we don't have these conversations anymore. We have a tool that does that for us. This means that we now have 80 hours to spend on different parts of our business. Because of that, I was able to reorganize my department and to make sure it runs more efficiently. And when one simple solution, by implementing it, can do that for you, then I say, well done. That's a very good tool. We've now also been able to bring back the focus where it belongs. Our engineers are able to really manage their own jobs. They have all the information they need, and they can make their own educated decisions. We don't have to feed them the information where they need to go next. They decide to do that, and that gives them a lot more flexibility, and it makes them happier. At the same time, my team in the office is now actually able to focus on what they really need to do, and that is basically catering to our customer as much as possible. I trained our engineers myself by using how to use FieldAware, and all I can say, it's really easy. If I can train my engineers, then it is that simple. The funniest thing about our implementation was as well, I needed to educate one of our really old engineers. I'm sorry for saying really old, but he's in his 60s. Sorry, guys. He had never worked with any kind of hardware like a smartphone or a tablet. He walked away from that training having more issues dealing with his tablet than he did with the application. So I guess that says something. Our conclusion is that we are now able to focus on what is important to us and to focus on the one conversation that matters, and that's the one with the customer. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Who's got questions?
Do any of you take photos with the FieldAware app? And how does that work for you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we use the photos a lot. That was something that we sold to the techs up front, and they bid on that day one. When they go out to a job site, they could take the photo. When I talked before about the tech requesting a quote for the customer for a break fix, they could take the pictures, send it to the parts department, and that's really helpful. I mean, I can't read a schematic. Our parts guys can, but even for them, it's very helpful to see that information. We take pictures of in our business in the generators, leaky hoses or things. We take those pictures, and lots of times we'll share those with the customers just to show the before and after. There's probably a dozen different things we use them for, but most of the techs are using them on almost every job.
Where are the pictures actually stored?
Matt, have him read the question in so we can get on the camera. Thank you.
Where are the pictures stored, though? Who pays for the storage of the pictures? Because that can grow over time.
You want to take that?
Yes. So you have a couple options. You can store as much as you want on our instance on Amazon Web Services. Some people, for security purposes, want to store certain documents and items in the NetSuite file cabinet. It's up to you. Obviously, you're correct. If you were to store tremendous numbers of photographs in the file cabinet, excuse me, that number would grow. That size requirement would grow over time. We do not have a limitation on storage. So you can reference the location of your photographs and items with a web link inside the file cabinet out to our instance on AWS without an impact on your NetSuite storage cost. Any other questions? Anyone?
How do you determine your margin on a service call? Or are you able to get to the reporting that's needed for that, and what are the components inside of NetSuite that you use to get to those numbers?
Yeah, so I did some pretty specific things in NetSuite to be able to do that. We've added, so we have the parts margin. We've assigned labor rates to the hour. We look at labor a couple different ways. We have an hourly rate, and we have service groups, but we have labor rates that we assign. Parts margin, just it works. It comes across. We measure that from the sales order. Not sure if that answers your question.
We do the same as well. Yeah.
Go, Matt, go.
Move you around. Is there any ability to accept payments in FieldAware?
So we have a couple of payment in the field conversations underway right now. Typically, as a B2B software, most of our customers are in an invoice situation, right? As we move forward, we've had quite a few requests for the ability to do something more than just work with Square and actually have a true payment gateway. I know we're talking to Paystand, but again, these are all preliminary conversations. It's in the works, but we haven't had that many retail request, sort of a retail request. This is primarily a B2B application. But point taken, and yes, we are working on it. And go back. There he goes back.
What about Outlook integration and synchronization with Calendar in NetSuite and Calendar in our corporate Office 365 calendar?
Yeah, Outlook, no. Outlook is not something that we would integrate with. Integration with NetSuite, there is a way to calendar jobs from inside NetSuite to FieldAware. but it probably isn't what you're envisioning. We really are truly a replacement for Outlook when it comes to calendaring. If that's something that you want to maintain, I'm truthfully honest, we might not be a fit for you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much, NetSuite. Thank you very much, George P. Johnson, and thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you.